You are listening to Miss Austen Investigates, The Hapless Milliner, written by Jessica Bull, narrated by Sarah Cullum. The 8 children of the Reverend Mr. George Austen and his good lady wife, Mrs. Cassandra Austen, née Lee, listed in order of their birth, by a partial, prejudiced, and ignorant family historian. 1. The Reverend Mr. James Austen, born 1765, the eldest, an accident of birth he regards as divine providence. 2. Mr. Georgy Austen, born 1766. Before I could write or speak, he taught me how to talk with my fingers. 3. Mr. Edward Neddy Austen, later knight, born 1767. My favourite. For it's only prudent that one's wealthiest brother is one's favourite. 4. Lieutenant Henry Austen, born 1771. Beastly. The most horrid brother who ever lived. 5. Miss Cassandra Austen, born 1773. The sweetest, kindest, most gullible of creatures. 6. Lieutenant Francis Frank Austen, born 1774. Young, tenacious, away at sea a lot. 7. Miss Jane Austen, born 1775. Come now, do I really need an introduction? 8. Midshipman Charles Austen, born 1779. See Frank. Chapter 1. Hampshire, England, 11th of December, 1795. By moonlight, Jane hitches up the hem of her muslin gown and darts across a neatly scythed lawn. The fireworks are over, but the musky tang of gunpowder lingers in her throat, and the din of a raucous crowd rises above the efforts of the string quartet performing in the Tudor mansion behind her. It is 9 o'clock, and the ball has hardly begun. Jane, accompanied by 2 of her elder brothers, James and Henry, arrived less than an hour ago, but already the finest society in all of Hampshire are tipsy and braying at each other over the melody. As she crosses the manicured garden, Jane crouches behind each colossal tower of yew to check for onlookers. Her heart pounds at the ruinous prospect of being spotted. God forbid she is caught sneaking away from the party unchaperoned. Her feet are cold, and damp is seeping through her shell-pink silk slippers. They were made for pirouetting on polished mahogany, not dashing across frosty grass. Her breath turns to steam. The bare branches of a laburnum reach out like the bony arms of a great skeleton, but she races on regardless. Tonight, she and her clever young man will come to their agreement. He will make her an offer of marriage. She is sure of it. Which words will Tom select for his purpose? My dearest Jane, you must allow me to tell you, Miss Austen, I offer myself to you. She will listen carefully and commit each phrase to memory. It could prove useful the next time one of her heroines receives a proposal. Flickering lamps guide her path to the glasshouse. She presses down gently on the door handle, yet it creaks and the hinges groan as she slips inside. Exotic orchids perfume the misty atmosphere, and she touches a hand to the back of her head. Her maid coiled her chestnut hair into a passably elegant chignon, with ringlets framing her face. If her curls turn to frizz, her brothers will guess where she's been and report her to their mother. A lean figure steps out from behind a desert pine. He is fair, with distinguished features, and instantly recognizable in his ivory swallowtail coat. Mademoiselle? The deep timbre of his voice dissolves Jane's heart and propels her toward him. Pausing just out of his reach, she gazes upward through fluttering eyelashes. It was most wicked of you to lure me here alone. His bright blue eyes sparkle, and his mouth curls into a seductive smile. You understood my message, then? I understand you perfectly, Monsieur Lefroy. Jane's gaze locks on his lips and she lets herself be gathered tight into his arms. His mouth hovers over hers, and she tips her head back to accept his kiss. She is almost, but not quite, as tall as he. Their relative statures seem designed to aid their amour. Glued together, they stumble into a row of shelves. Beside Jane, a terracotta pot tumbles and smashes at her feet. Dark earth spills across the clay floor tiles. She breaks free, stooping to pick up the tangle of roots and placing the plant carefully back inside its damaged pot. Tom bends down on one knee, cupping her face in his palm. Is this the moment he will propose? He directs her eyes back to his. Leave the wretched weed, Jane. It doesn't matter. But I must. We are guests. It's only respectful. Jane's heartbeat returns to a regular rhythm as she places the orchid back on the shelf beside its neighbours. She fingers the tall stem, lined with papery chartreuse flowers, until the plant looks as if it was never disturbed. Tom kicks shards of terracotta beneath the cabinet with the toe of his dancing pump. Besides, someone will know we've been in here. He silences her protests with kisses. Slowly, he peels one kid leather glove down her arm and pulls it free. Jane presses her naked palm to his, their fingers interlacing. Through half-closed eyes, she watches the condensation form rivulets and slide down the walls of the glasshouse, and waits for the strings to strike up again. A drop of moisture falls to the floor. Wait. Something is wrong. I can't hear the music. She reaches for the nearest pane of glass, rubs a spot clear, and squints through it. The doors of the great hall are open to the terrace. Guests are standing about, heads bent together. The dance floor is clear. Tom releases her, straightening. You're right. It's too quiet. Sir John can't be making the toast already, not so early in the proceedings. I expect Mrs. Rivers is hounding Lady Harcourt and the baronet to make the announcement. Jonathan Harcourt is the most eligible bachelor in all of Hampshire. Sophie Rivers will be champing at the bit to be congratulated on their engagement. I'd better get back. James and Henry will be looking for me. I bet them £half-a-crown, weeks ago now, that Sophie would be the one to snare him. Tom's shoulders sag in defeat. You go ahead. I shall follow. We can meet again? Afterward? Jane is reluctant to let the moment pass without resolution of their future together. The glasshouse is the perfect setting for Tom to declare his intentions toward her. Yet if her family discover her missing from the ball, she risks having her limited freedom curtailed even further. Back here, as soon as the dancing strikes up again? Tom offers her a rueful smile. Go then. Give me a few moments to compose myself. Jane flushes as she turns toward the door, pressing her fingers over her lips to prevent herself from laughing. Wait. He waves her glove at her. She runs back into his arms, giggling freely. She would look a fool returning to the ball with only one glove. Her brothers would be furious if they guessed she'd lost it in an amorous tryst with a young man so recently of her acquaintance. As much as James and Henry seem to approve of Tom, Jane is their little sister, and it's their duty to guard her virtue. A lady's reputation is her most precious asset, especially a young lady like Jane, who has scant enough resources to recommend her. She reclaims her stolen token, leaning in for one last kiss before heading out into the night. Tom may not have proposed, but from the look of wonder in his eyes and the passion in his rapturous kiss, Jane is certain of his most ardent affection for her. The enormous studded oak doors to the great hall of Dean House are wedged open. Heat and light radiate from the crush of well-heeled guests inside. Jane hesitates, staring down at the grass stains on her slippers and along the hem of her best muslin gown. Cassandra, Jane's elder sister, to whom the gown officially belongs, will be most vexed. But Cassandra cannot...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?